Hey everybody, it's Jess, and I'm sure you're sitting there wondering why I am wearing this shockingly green wig. And I will tell you, it is because April is Donate Life Month, also known as Organ Donation Awareness Month, and green is the color for organ donation. And I really don't have much in the way of green clothes. I'm not a big green wearer person, so I decided to, go with the crazy hair, cheap Halloween wig route. So that's what we're doing today. I would like to share with you some statistics and facts about organ donation and maybe hopefully do a little myth busting out there because, organ donation really is, I keep seeing little hairs out of the corner of my eye. I'm like, what is that? Organ donation is like it's the ultimate gift that you could possibly give to somebody. And so, the first thing I want to share with you, to try and keep in your mind as we go through, I got my notes here, as we go through the rest of, this information is that right now in the United States alone, there's approximately 124,000 people waiting for an organ of some type, liver, kidney, heart, lungs, whatever it is. Okay, and approximately 2,146 of those who are waiting are children. And not all of those people will get organs. Some of these people will absolutely die while they are waiting for an organ that could save their life. And so, this is such an important topic for me because someday I'm going to need a lung transplant. I know many people who have had transplants of some kind. And, there are people that I know who I met after they had their transplants. And if it wasn't for their donors, I wouldn't even get to have that person in my life and be their friend. So, that's just something I want you to keep in the back of your mind as we go through this. And I know this can kind of be like a hard topic of discussion and maybe a little morbid for some people. So I'm going to kind of do my best to insert a little humor in here and make it interesting. So I hope I succeed in that. The first thing I want to share is when a family member of yours has passed away and you have decided to donate their organs, there is no cost to you for the donation. All the costs are incurred by the recipients of the organs. It's their insurance and everything that pays for the transportation of the organs, the surgery to harvest the organs, and all of that stuff. The only thing that the donor family is responsible for is any care that the patient, that the donor received prior to donating their organs. And that's a common myth that's out there, is that, the donor family has to pay for all this, and that's absolutely not the case. It's the recipient. All that is taken care of on their end. So for donor families, donation is absolutely not a financial burden, so don't even worry about any of that. And also, everyone is a potential donor. Even someone like myself who has a chronic disease, my lungs are garbage. I know this, so that my lungs would not be usable. But as far as I know, and all my tests indicate that my kidney, my livers, like I have more than one, my kidneys, my liver, and my heart, are all good and could potentially be donated to someone in the event that I were to, pass away. So, don't just write off that, you're even if you're not the healthiest person on the planet, that doesn't mean you can't possibly be a donor in some capacity. And one really amazing fact I think is so awesome. all major religions approve of and support organ donation. And I don't know if it was the current pope or the previous pope, but one of them even said that organ donation is the ultimate final act of giving and love that somebody can do for someone else. And so, like I said, all major religions support it. So if you think that, basically, if you've ever argued that it's against your religion, you're probably wrong. And I'm being a little blunt there, but that's just the case. Open casket funerals for the donor are totally still an option for you. I know the surgeons take the utmost care to give your loved one back to you as intact as possible from the outside. They do a very good job of that, and so you can absolutely still have an open casket funeral for your loved one if that's what you want. And here's a big one that goes around, a big myth, that doctors are just out there to get your organs, and so they're not going to make every effort possible to save your life. And that is just not true, okay? Every effort is made to save a patient's life when they come into the emergency room or into the hospital for whatever reason. And most of the time, emergency room doctors and the doctors and nurses who take care of patients day to day while they're admitted to the hospital probably don't even know your donor status. So it's not a factor. They do make every effort. And even if there was somebody who was just like, oh, well, this guy would be a great organ donor, so let's just not do anything and just let him die. What would they gain out of that? Because, I mean, there's nothing in it for people to be doing that. So, no. Every effort would be made to save your life, should you be in some kind of accident or something. And all ethnic backgrounds are needed as donors. There's a higher probability of success with a transplant if the donor and the recipient are from the same ethnic background. So somebody of Asian descent would do best with an organ of another person from Asian descent because they're, genetically speaking, they're a closer match. So people of all races and ethnicities can absolutely donate, and it just increases the odds of the recipients making it through their transplant and going on to live long and happy lives. And since people know usually that you can donate solid organs like your heart, your kidney, your liver, and all that kind of thing. But did you know you can also donate your corneas, which would help somebody to be able to see again? So corneas, skin is usually used for burn victims. Bones, they do transplant bones. Yes, I know that sounds bizarre, but they do it. Or sometimes they'll just take a piece of a bone and maybe use it in like a reconstructive surgery that somebody needs. You can donate your heart valves. So somebody who needs a heart valve replacement can get one from another person as opposed to an animal or a mechanical valve. You can donate your stomach and intestines for somebody who has some kind of serious gastrointestinal disease. So it's not just your organs. You can help so many people with the gift of yourself, literally yourself. And living donation of certain things is also possible. I'm sure everybody knows that someone can donate a kidney to a person because we have two, and you can live perfectly fine with just one. So, but you can also, of course, donate blood, bone marrow, and it's not as common because it's a riskier procedure, but occasionally, sometimes transplant centers will take like the lower lobe of a lung from somebody and give it to a recipient, or do a partial liver transplant. Like I said, not as common, but it does happen on rare occasions. So you can actually even, make a difference in somebody's lives now. And donating blood is definitely the easiest one to do. Because of all the meds I'm on, unfortunately, I'm not eligible to be a blood or bone marrow donor, but I really wish that I could. I think it would be amazing to be able to give that gift to someone. And they're all the time finding out that bone marrow transplants are helpful and useful in so many different conditions. It used to be like pretty much just leukemia, but now they're realizing that it works on so many other types of diseases that the need for bone marrow has really, really increased. So that's just another thing to think about. And kind of just for funsies, I looked up some celebrities who have had transplants. Tracy Morgan, the comedian, he had a kidney transplant. Steve Jobs received a liver transplant. George Lopez, also a comedian, is another kidney transplant. Mandy Patinkin, who you probably know as Inigo Montoya from The Princess Bride, received 2 corneas. And Alonzo Mourning, the basketball player, got a kidney transplant. Former Vice President Dick Cheney got a heart. James Redford, who's the son of Robert Redford, has gotten 2 liver transplants. And this one surprised me. I had no idea. Evel Knievel got a liver transplant. I did not know that. How interesting. It would make sense, though, the way he destroyed his body. And this one might be this person is probably only really known in the cystic fibrosis community, but she was the subject of a documentary about transplant and cystic fibrosis, and she was a personal friend of mine. Her name is Ava Markwart. She received a double lung transplant. Unfortunately, 2 years later, she went into rejection and was unable to get a second double lung transplant. But yeah, she was a personal friend of mine. Really wonderful, awesome woman. So I think that's about it. There's tons and tons more information. I could sit here talking to you guys all day about organ donation. But definitely you can go online. I'm going to put some links below to for you guys to do more research. And the final thing I really wanted to say is that putting the little heart on your driver's license, that's great, but it's also not enough. There are official organ donor registries where you can go and sign up, and people in the hospital or whatever, should you happen to be in some kind of accident and you are legally brain dead, they can go on there and look and be like, oh, so this person registered to be an organ donor. But the most important thing you need to do is to discuss your wishes with your family members, with the people who would be the ones deciding whether or not to donate your organs, should that happen. And so yeah, just sit down, talk with your family. I know it's a difficult discussion to have. Nobody likes to think about their own death, but a lot of donor families really take comfort in the fact that there are people out there who are alive and able to, go out and do things and be a husband, a wife, be a kid again, and just are enjoying life because of that gift. And knowing that a part of their loved one is still alive is often very, very comforting for donor families. So yeah, definitely, like I said, go ahead, check out the links that I'm going to put in here for you to get tons and tons of information. Please register to become an organ donor, get the little heart on your driver's license, and have that discussion with your family. And so that is all for now. I will see you guys later, and I hope you have a great week. And remember, donate life. Bye.